Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my presentation or podcast or video, whatever you like to call it, on Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, written by Dylan Thomas in 1951. As we know, this is just after the war, and this poem is written to his dying father. So that was just a bit of background information that, it comes handy when you're reading the poem. So I'm going to be going and giving you precise and concise information uh, of each stanza and analyzing each line in each stanza really briefly because I am really short of time. I've only got 15 minutes to do this. So, do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Three words that stand out to me in that first line: gentle and good night. So gentle implies calm and soft, but he's telling him not to go gentle. He's telling him to go fighting hard, right in there, into that good night. So what is the good night? So as we know, England was a bit of a Christian country, took its religion really seriously in those times, 60 years ago. And the only thing that I could think of biblically is Good Friday, and Good Friday is Jesus' death. Now death is symbolic here because he's obviously writing this to his dying father. So the fact that he's comparing this to that really, really important event, the biblical event, shows undying love for his father. And that is, I think, in my opinion, the message he's trying to get across. Old day should burn and rave at close of day. So what that means is he's angry, he's feeling mixed emotions. Mr. Thomas over here. He's feeling furious, he's angry at the whole situation, yeah, he's also sad for his father. If old age was a thing, if it was a substance, a thing, he would punish it. He hates the fact of old age, and he doesn't want it to occur to anyone. And so what he's saying to his father is rage, rage against the dying of the light. Now, when you think about dying of the light, usually you see on movies or comics, don't go towards the light, they say. That means don't go towards death. And the fact that he wants them to rage, to stop, to fight against this dying of the light. It's so easy just to, be like, oh, I've lived my life, I just want to die. But he's asking him to resist the temptation. He's asking him to just to think about his decision because it affects everybody else, including himself. Let's go on to the second stanza here, guys. The wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had fork no lightning. They do not go gentle into that good night. So, wise men. See, now what I think is that the next three stanzas are stanzas that are designed almost like advice for his father. Mr. Thomas wants his father to become a wise man, to become a good man, to become a wild man, and to become a great man. He's given him helpful tips on how he should have lived his life. And let's look at the first one. The wise man. They know when the dark is right, as it says. The dark is right. They obviously know when death is upon them, because their words had fork no light and they do not go gentle into that good night. Now, I don't want you guys to get mixed up between wise and clever. There are two. Wise is somebody like Mahatma Gandhi. Now, he said that an eye for an eye makes the world blind. Now, clever is different to wise, because for somebody to be wise, he must have been through so many events in his lifetime, including, life itself, including family problems, work, jobs, stressful positions, so on. He must have encountered every single situation for him to even comment on life himself. Whereas clever people, everybody can be clever. You see scientists these days coming up on TV, making these crazy accusations and proving them. That's not being wise. That's just using your brain. And given the scientific context that you have, making hypotheses according to that. And there is a clear difference here. And wise men know that their dark is right, but because they're not clever, or because they're not like sciencey or stuff. They don't do anything with their work. They don't do anything with their knowledge, and they don't go into that. They don't go gentle into that good night because they want to. They want to go out fighting, to do something good with their life, and not keep all that knowledge to themselves, to show off that knowledge almost, if you like. So the next one is good men. Now, good men, in my notes here, I've written that good men, the goodness means it consists of fighting the inevitability of death. So the good men, they almost understand death, but because what they've done in their life is just so correct, and they've lived their life in such a perfect lifestyle, they haven't really done that much for others, if you see what I'm saying. So that's shown with their frail deeds. So their weak deeds, when they promise something and they didn't do it. They're what this stanza is saying: the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in the green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. What this is saying. So if you think about the last wave metaphorically, if you think about the last wave, what it's saying is, imagine you're at a beach and imagine the wave going by. Imagine the wave going by. See, if the wave went on by, you would enjoy it a lot more. If the wave carried on and did not roll onto the beach, for example, that wave would have been a potential for something. It would have done its job of traveling, but it's stopped by the beach, and the beach represents death in this situation. And what's being said in this stanza is that if these good men had a bit more time, just a bit more, they would have delivered their deeds. They would have done what was asked of them and not kept it hanging for a while. So here, death is represented as a bad thing because it's stopping people from achieving their potential. Let's go on to the next stanza. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way, do not go gentle into that good night. So wild men, adventurous men, if you like, they've explored every situation. They've done so much with their life. They've done everything. They've been out, they've caught and sung the sun in flight. So the sun is such a powerful thing, and the fact that they've caught it and sang it shows that not only have they taken in the world, they've also sang it, so they've released all their passion for everything. And sun reminds me of sunrise and sunset. And flight, I think these two words are really important here. Let me explain why. So sunrise, in my opinion, represents birth, represents life, and sunset represents death. And flight is, well, in this world, revolutionary. It has changed the way man could travel from one place to another. It's made it much faster. So I think what he's implying here is life goes too fast. Life is too short, essentially, is what he's saying. Wild men, they don't want to die. They want to continue their life. And because of their wild life, they come across new things every day. This is what he wants his father to be. He wants to go out and enjoy his life. Now, grave men, onto the penultimate stanza. Grave men near death, who see the blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Now, grave men can mean two things. It could mean serious, somebody who takes things hard on, or initially a joke. I mean, grave. Doesn't that sound like a thing that we bury people in? We bury dead people in, sorry? The grave. And well, given the situation here, I don't think he'll be joking. I don't think he'll be joking to his dying father at his deathbed. So I think it's more serious men. It says near death, who see the blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. The gay obviously means happy, and the fact that they see with blinding sight. So with all the situations that they've been faced with being serious and being the type of character that grave men are, they could still blaze like meteors. They still have so much in them that they could do. They are, because they've been so compact to themselves, you know, they've kept everything quiet. They're serious people. They are the ones that essentially live their life taking, like, not taking risks, being the people that are really clever in the decisions that they make. But yet, because of this, they don't take risks in their life, and so when it nears death, they have this thing where they could just explode like meteors, explode with all that fun and that passion and everything. And then of course rage against the dying of the light. So he's saying fight against going towards the light is essentially what he's saying. And the final stanza, and you, my father, there on the sad height, curse bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of the light. So for the first time, I want to introduce structure. For you guys who are watching this video to analyze your poem for revisions, let's say, the structure of this is a villanelle. So if we go back, we see that the first line is the last line in the second stanza, and the last line in the third stanza. The last line in the first stanza here is the last line in the third stanza and the fifth stanza. Also, we notice that night, light, right, night. So the last word of the last line, the last word of the first line and the last word of the last line rhyme. So if we see, we have night and light, right and night, bright and light, flight and night, sight, light, height, light. So it's quite a lot of repetition when it comes to it. So we can safely say that Dylan did not have that many words to choose from in his vocabulary that rhyme with or that end in GHD, IGHD as such. So when he says sad height, that's quite ironic throughout the whole thing, because throughout the whole thing, all he shows is love to his father. So when he pulls him down and says sad height, in my opinion, means something where you've done everything in your life. You've reached a point where everything else, there's no point in living. You've reached a point where a sad height. So you've reached the highest point in your life where you've done everything. There's no need to be on this earth anymore. So what does this mean? Why would he say that? Why would he say such a thing to his father? However, when you think about it, what is the best way to motivate somebody? To tell them that they're doing it wrong. To say, look at you, you're weak and feeble. Let's say I'm doing press-ups in a gym, like I can't. My teacher will say, look at you, you're weak, you're feeble, urging me, pushing me on to fight. Everything he says in this is to help his father. Curse bless me now with your fierce tears. This oxymoron shows that he will take any punishment for him. He'll take any punishment for his father to live. I pray. This shows the desperation of how much he loves his father. And although he's being like this to his father, he's telling him to be like all these people, telling him to live his life a different way. But how rude is that to an old man to tell him to live his life a different way? But then again, it shows how desperate somebody becomes when he's losing a loved one. Finally, do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of your light. A beautiful finish there from Dylan himself. And I guess it's time for me to say goodbye. We know that the overall message of this poem is to stop people from dying, if you get the joke. And thank you so much for listening to my commentary. My name is Dan Haddad. This has been Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. Have a good day.